Now let's go through the parameters. Let's write out the same function from before. Int add, int a, int b. Now let's write out the body of our function. And here all we want to do is just return a plus b. Let's call this function now inside of our main function. Let's make two variables. Let's do int num1 equals to 5. Let's now write and int num2 equal to 10. Now let's write int sum is equal to add, and let's add in num1 and num2. We can also just write numbers here if we wanted to, but for this sake, let's just write num2 for now. So now let's print something to the console and make it modular. So we'll write printf, and we'll write %d plus %d equals %d. And here we'll write num1, num2, and then sum. So num1, num2, and sum. Let's do Control F5. As you can see, it does 5 plus 10 equals 15, which is exactly how our method works. So when we have a return type on our functions, you can almost treat these as numbers or whatever the data type is, and we can assign it to something because of the return statement here. This return statement is going to return whatever we want based on the return type when we declare a function. One thing I want to point out is that if you try to change the value inside of your parameters here, it won't actually change the numbers from where you're calling it from. So now let's update this. Let's do int sum is equal to a plus b. After we add up the numbers, let's just do a is equal to 55. And then let's return sum, just so it's not affecting the actual return value. So when we call this, we're going to call add. We're passing in num1 for a, num2 for b. We're going to add a plus b into sum. But then we're going to update a to be equal to 55. So some people might think that when we go to print out num1 now, because we're passing it in for num-a, they'll think that it's now going to be updated to 55. But in reality, this doesn't affect anything because we're only passing in the value to the function in the parameter. We're not actually giving it the real variable. So if we do Control F5 and run this again, you'll see that nothing changed and the variables are still assigned to their original values. So keep this in mind when you're writing out your functions, that if you need a value to be updated, you'll likely need to use your return type and return statement to send back the value that you're looking for, which in this case, we're looking for sum. So we return a plus b, which would be our sum.